In the bustling era of the 1940s, amidst the chaos of World War II, a top-secret endeavor took root on a desolate plateau in Los Alamos, New Mexico. This endeavor, known as the Manhattan Project, aimed to harness the power of the atom and create an atomic bomb. Deeply shrouded in secrecy, the project brought together the brightest minds from around the world, all focused on a single purpose: to end the war. At the heart of the project was Dr. Robert Oppenheimer, a brilliant physicist who led the scientific team. One of the project's early challenges was to enrich uranium to the required level for the bomb's construction. To achieve this, they constructed enormous enrichment plants at Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Among the workers at Oak Ridge was a young woman named Margaret, who left her comfortable life in the city to contribute to the war effort. Margaret, a vivacious and curious soul, quickly became enamored with the mysteries of nuclear physics. While her primary duty involved operating the massive electromagnetic separators, she yearned to understand the science behind it all. Despite the tight security, Margaret managed to spend her evenings devouring books and research papers, expanding her knowledge beyond her assigned tasks. One fateful evening, as she was studying late in her dormitory, she overheard a conversation between two scientists discussing a mysterious yet promising new project. They spoke in hushed tones about a plutonium bomb, an alternative to the uranium-based weapon. Intrigued and determined to learn more, Margaret discreetly began to investigate further. Meanwhile, at the core of the Los Alamos laboratory, tensions were rising among the scientists. Dr. Edward Teller, known for his ambitious nature, was advocating for the development of an even more powerful hydrogen bomb. Oppenheimer and some of the other physicists expressed ethical concerns about the devastating consequences such a weapon could have if ever used. As the days turned into months, the collective effort of the scientists started to yield results. The enriched uranium from Oak Ridge and the plutonium produced at the Hanford site in Washington state paved the way for the assembly of the first atomic bombs. However, a nagging uncertainty still lingered in Oppenheimer's mind about the rightness of their actions. One evening, as Oppenheimer was walking alone beneath the starry New Mexico sky, he encountered an elderly Navajo man named Sam Whitehorse. They struck up a conversation, and Whitehorse spoke about his deep connection to the land and its sacred nature. The conversation stirred something within Oppenheimer, and he began to question the morality of their work and its potential impact on the world. Back at Oak Ridge, Margaret had made a breakthrough. She discovered a method to optimize the uranium enrichment process, increasing efficiency and reducing waste. Excited about her findings, she decided to share them with the lead scientist overseeing the enrichment facility. To her dismay, the lead scientist dismissed her ideas, claiming they were impractical and would disrupt the established protocols. Undeterred, Margaret sought another way to get her ideas noticed. She wrote a letter directly to Oppenheimer, detailing her findings and requesting an opportunity to present them. To her surprise, she received a response from Oppenheimer himself, inviting her to Los Alamos to present her ideas in person. Thrilled and apprehensive at the same time, Margaret traveled to the secret laboratory, ready to face the skeptical scientists. As she stood before the gathered physicists, Margaret eloquently explained her research and demonstrated its potential benefits. Her passion and determination left a lasting impression on the scientists, including Oppenheimer. Recognizing her brilliance and perseverance, Oppenheimer granted her the resources and support to further develop her ideas. Meanwhile, the debate over the hydrogen bomb intensified at Los Alamos. Tensions between Oppenheimer and Dr. Teller reached a breaking point. Teller, feeling his ideas were being rejected, decided to leave Los Alamos and pursue his vision elsewhere. As the war raged on, the day finally arrived when the first atomic bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, was ready for deployment. Oppenheimer, racked with internal conflict, wrestled with the decision to use such a devastating weapon. In the end, he relented, believing that its use would lead to a swift end to the war and save countless lives. On August 6, 1945, the Enola Gay AB-29 bomber soared over Hiroshima, Japan. With a deafening roar, Little Boy was dropped upon the unsuspecting city. The world watched in horror as a blinding flash and a mushroom cloud marked the beginning of a new era, the Atomic Age. The aftermath of the bombing left Oppenheimer grappling with guilt and sorrow. The devastation caused by the bomb weighed heavily on his conscience, and he became an advocate for peaceful uses of atomic energy after the war. As the war came to an end, the world witnessed the tremendous power of atomic energy, and the implications of this newfound force were not lost on anyone. The need for international regulation and cooperation became evident, and discussions began on how to control the spread of nuclear weapons. Back at Los Alamos, Margaret's research had proven successful. Her innovations not only improved the efficiency of uranium enrichment but also opened up new possibilities for nuclear energy applications beyond weaponry. Recognizing her significant contributions, Oppenheimer offered Margaret a permanent position at the laboratory, making her one of the few female scientists to work on the Manhattan Project. Margaret's dedication and thirst for knowledge impressed everyone at Los Alamos, earning her respect among her colleagues. She continued her research and experimentation, working on ways to harness nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. She was a staunch advocate for using atomic energy for the betterment of humanity rather than as a weapon of destruction. With the war over, Dr. Teller, having left Los Alamos, devoted himself to advocating for the development of the hydrogen bomb elsewhere. His efforts culminated in the successful test of the first thermonuclear device, demonstrating the immense power of fusion reactions. The world was now faced with the reality of even more destructive weapons. While Oppenheimer remained committed to the peaceful use of atomic energy, the rising tensions of the Cold War created a climate of fear and distrust. Accusations of espionage and security breaches circulated, leading to Oppenheimer's security clearance being revoked. The once respected physicist found himself at odds with the government he had served during the Manhattan Project. Margaret, too, faced challenges in her journey. As a female scientist in a male-dominated field, she encountered resistance and discrimination. Despite her achievements, she struggled to be taken seriously in a world where women were often overlooked in scientific pursuits. Determined to change the status quo, she became a vocal advocate for women's inclusion in science and technology. As the years passed, the world grappled with the reality of nuclear weapons and the implications of their use. The United Nations took steps towards nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation, but tensions between nuclear powers remained high. In the early 1950s, the US government initiated Operation Castle, a series of high-yield nuclear tests in the Pacific. Driven by fears of the Soviet Union's nuclear capabilities, these tests were conducted to explore the feasibility of developing even more powerful thermonuclear weapons. Oppenheimer, deeply disturbed by the escalation of nuclear testing and its potential consequences, became an outspoken critic of the hydrogen bomb. He lobbied for arms control and peaceful resolutions to international conflicts. However, his opposition to the hydrogen bomb further fueled suspicions of his loyalties, leading to further scrutiny and accusations. Amid the political drama, Margaret's groundbreaking work on peaceful nuclear applications gained traction. She was instrumental in designing the first nuclear power plant, which was intended to produce electricity for civilian use. Her vision of using atomic energy for the betterment of humanity began to take shape. In the late 1950s and early 1960s, the world experienced a period of tension known as the Cuban Missile Crisis. The presence of Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba brought the world to the brink of nuclear war, raising concerns about the catastrophic consequences of a potential conflict. During this time, Oppenheimer continued to advocate for arms control and restraint, urging leaders to pursue diplomacy over military aggression. His efforts to promote international cooperation earned him both admiration and criticism, as some saw him as a traitor and others as a visionary. Margaret, on the other hand, focused on her work and the possibilities of nuclear energy in providing clean and abundant power. She became a prominent voice in the scientific community, advocating for the responsible use of nuclear technology and its potential to address global energy needs. As the years went by, Oppenheimer's health began to decline, and he withdrew from the public eye. In 1967, he passed away, leaving behind a complex legacy that encompassed both his contributions to science and the moral questions surrounding his work on the Manhattan Project. Margaret, however, continued to push the boundaries of nuclear science and technology. Her work on nuclear power plants expanded, leading to the establishment of the first commercial nuclear power plant in the United States. Her dedication to using atomic energy for peaceful purposes earned her international recognition and awards. In the decades that followed, the world continued to grapple with the challenges of nuclear proliferation and disarmament. The horrors of nuclear weapons were evident in the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, serving as a haunting reminder of the consequences of unchecked nuclear power. As nations entered the 21st century, the threat of nuclear war remained, but so did the hope for peaceful resolutions. The efforts of scientists like Margaret, who had once worked on the Manhattan Project, were instrumental in promoting responsible nuclear energy use and arms control. The Manhattan Project had forever changed the course of history, leaving behind a legacy of both scientific advancement and ethical dilemmas. It served as a poignant reminder of the power of human innovation, both for creation and destruction. In the end, the story of the Manhattan Project is a tale of contrasts: the brilliance of human minds unlocking the secrets of the universe, the weight of moral responsibility, and the pursuit of knowledge in the face of uncertainty. It remains a testament to the complex nature of progress and the importance of considering the impact of our actions on the world and future generations.